One of the 613 mitzvahs that we have is the mitzvah of Simchas Haregel, to rejoice and to have Simcha during Yantif. That's one of the mitzvahs that we have. Now that's a mitzvah that applies to Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkos. However, we know that what is unique to Sukkos is that the level of Simcha that one has to have is ratcheted up all the way. And in fact, the place, the Yantif that the Torah uses as the poster child for this mitzvah of Simcha is the Yantif of Sukkos. V'samachta b'chagecha, v'yisa'ach sameach. And so the question is, what exactly is the joy in particular? What is the joy of Sukkos? What is the Simcha Sukkos? And what makes it unique over the Simcha that we have by every other holiday? So the truth is like this. We know that one of the main mitzvahs of Sukkos is, as the name indicates, the Sukkah, sitting in the Sukkah. Now we know that within the Sukkah, certainly the most important part of the Sukkah that really defines it and makes it a Sukkah is the schach, the part that we cover the roof of the Sukkah with. Now what's interesting is that when the Torah tells us what materials to use to make the schach, the way Chazal interpret it, the pasuk says to use psoiles, goyren, v'yekev. That we know that Sukkot is a time of the harvest, and what's left in the fields after the harvest is done is the chaff and the branches and the leaves. The psoiles, what is left over as garbage. And the Torah says, go back to the field after you've brought in your main harvest, the fruits and vegetables, and I want you to go and take the psoiles, goyren, v'yekev. I want you to take all the things that you've left behind, and I want to use that and transform it into the schach of the sukkah. What that tells us in Avodas Hashem is the following idea. We just went through Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. During Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the objective is to be introspective and to analyze oneself and to be honest and open and to realize that there are certain parts of our personalities which are difficult, and there are certain flaws in our character, and there are certain personality traits which tend to give us a hard time. And hopefully, during Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, a person does tshuva and a person moves on from those things. And there's a certain tendency, very often in the tshuva process, to at least wish that certain parts of a person's personality and nature could just be, surgically removed and thrown in the trash. It would be a lot easier if a person, for example, who was struggling with a temper, would be able to just take that part of his psychology out of himself and just let that go in the fields. And then the person would think that now I could serve Hashem if I could just get rid of that part of me that's causing me problems. And that's the process that a person goes through in the mind of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. But then when it comes to Sukkot, Hashem says, once you've made an honest evaluation of yourself, and you've recognized your flaws, and you've recognized your strengths, comes the Yantif of Sukkot and says, now go back to those personality traits that have been causing you problems until now, and instead of surgically removing them and allowing them to just remain in the fields, I want you, says Hashem, to take those traits and to reincorporate it into your personality in a healthy, productive way. That person who struggles with a temper, for example, his objective certainly is to be able to learn how to control his temper. But ultimately, it's not about removing that quality from oneself. It's about harnessing that passion and fire in a productive way. That's the simcha, that's the joy of Sukkot. The joy of Sukkot is the realization that those parts of our personalities, which we've been beating ourselves up about over Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, could actually be harnessed and be not just a little bit productive, but they could become the roof of our sukkah. That's the joy of Sukkot. The joy comes when the least expected takes place, where that part of you that you've until now been rejecting could actually become the source of all blessing in a person's life. So Hashem should up that we should enter the Yantif of Sukkot with tremendous joy and pride and confidence in being a Jew and with our specific personality traits, and all of us together should have a great Yantif together. Thank you.